Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Stuart Russell, and here we are with Radio Wimborne at the festival. Well, band today is the Murphy's Law Trio. One, I might add, of the busiest bands in the area. I read the website, I've done all their pages, and they make this wonderful claim. I'm going to introduce the band. Let's do it individually. So, our first player.
My name's Alex Smith. I'm the guitar rhythm player, have a tenor guitar, and I usually have a little stump box to stand on for a nice little bass beat as well.
Nice.
And occasionally mandolin too.
Blinded.
I'm Nolene Ryan Smith. I'm vocalist. I play whistles and bowran and a little bit of shaky percussion as well.
And I'm Steve. I also part of the vocal team, and I play fiddle.
Yeah, and Steve, you've got such a big resume of bands that you've played with.
Yeah, well, I've been around on the scene for quite a while. I mean, I actually cut my teeth, so to speak. Actually started with Pronghorn many years ago at Wimborne Folk Festival. And yeah, I've progressed on since then. I've been a shanty man, which I'm resuming actually on Wednesday, down on Paul Quay, where the Santa Maria comes in. I'm doing a solo set there.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I'm also got a country project which we interviewed last year, Route 66. And so, yeah, that keeps me out of mischief, because otherwise I just get bored and break things.
Well, yeah, and then you sort of inflict yourself on these two as well.
Yeah,
Of course, you two started as a duo, didn't you?
Well, it goes back a bit further than that. My dad had a band years ago, which was originally called the Highly Strung Band, and Murphy's Law kind of morphed from that. Nolene joined the band over 20 years ago. We became an item and kind of inherited the band effectively. So since then, there's Murphy's Law Kaylee, which is a 4-piece band with a box player and another fiddle player as well, although Steve does deck with us when Jim's not available. We did a bit of duo stuff on persuasion of, actually I think it was probably Paul Burke, wasn't it, initially, and Adrian Harmon.
It was indeed, yes.
So we started doing the old duo stuff, and then the reason the three of us got together, we knew Steve anyway from the folk scene, and actually at the old microbrewery site in Wimborne in 2018, we did the duo performance, didn't we?
And yes, Jen Tingay from Pool Hill Brewery, as it was then, asked us to go and do St Patrick's Day the next year, and we thought we needed to fill out the sound a bit, so we invited Steve to come along, and 6 years later the band's still going strong.
Wow. That's really, really good. And you used to have a squeeze box player. He's retired now, isn't he?
Yeah, so Richard, our squeeze box player with the Cage band, he's in his 70s now, and he decided that...
There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly, yeah. But I think the driving was becoming, especially the long distance driving.
Casting a whacking great big squeeze box.
They are heavy.
Anyway, we had an idea in our head who we wanted to replace him with, and that's worked out really well. We've got Andrew Helson, who's actually a well-known caller, squeeze box player. He also plays guitar and various instruments, and he's a very good singer as well. So he's actually doing the Kaylee with us this afternoon as the caller. Richard, our recently retired accordion player, is coming back because it's effectively his home turf.
So, wonderful.
So we're reuniting with him.
Yeah, he's coming out of retirement for us, especially.
That's in the square at
2 p.m.
2 p.m.
So normally musicians, they come from families that are musicians as well. Are all of you from musician families?
Definitely.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
My mum and dad actually met in a band in the 60s.
They did that then.
Yes, exactly. But they were quite big on the scene. Cinnamon and Sarah, they did a 25th anniversary gig at the Winter Gardens in Bournemouth just before they pulled that down. And they used to run folk clubs on Bournemouth Pier and stuff like that. So I've been coming to Wimborne Festival from knee high, and just osmosis.
Is it Nolene I prefer to be called?
Nolene, yes.
No,
yeah.
So
My family are all Irish. So I grew up, my father played accordion, chromatic accordion, which I could never get my head around, makes different notes on squeezing in and out. Yeah. But my family, all Irish and all musical. When we get together, everyone from my uncle, who's 99, down to his great-granddaughter, age 6, is all singing and playing.
So that's a proper Kaylee then, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a proper Kaylee.
Same with me, as I said, my dad has always been into music. He was in the old Pull and Push in its heydays in the 70s and 80s. Before that particular lineup was around for a while, but split up. The accordion player Paul Hutch went on to do bigger and greater things. My dad then started his own band again, which was, I say, the previously mentioned Highly Strung Band, which then morphed into our present lineup of Murphy's Law Katie, basically. So I grew up with Irish music very predominantly, and came to English music a bit later, actually, almost by mistake, didn't I? I've been being told that English music wasn't really that good, but I discovered actually.
So not one of you then considered rebelling and playing punk or rock or anything?
I actually started in a heavy metal band.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it. I knew we'd found that nutmeg.
There is a shred of that still carries on
yes,
through.
exactly. And in the 80s, I grew up I was really into the sort of electronic stuff. So I was a big Gary Newman fan, Depeche Mode, Human League, all that stuff. And my formative years were playing one-handed synthesizers in a variety of school bands and not really getting anywhere. But I did enjoy it, to be honest. I still listen to Gary Newman and all that stuff nowadays. After that, I got more into the indie sort of guitar music, say the Colts, Bauhaus, all that sort of stuff, and that's when I first picked up a guitar. Basically.
We could have you back for an alternative session. that sounds really. What about you, Nomi?
Oh, I've dabbled in all sorts of things. Musical
we don't know
theatre. I actually used to do, when I first moved to Bournemouth 30 years ago, I used to do cabaret stuff around one or two of the hotels.
Wow.
You name it, I've probably sung it.
Lovely.
Karaoke performer, before karaoke was a thing.
I think, in all honesty, we've talked too much already, so let's get to your first number, and that's Raggle Tackle Gypsy, isn't it?
It is,
That's right.
Wonderful.
There were three gypsies came to our hall door. They came brave and boldly, oh. One sang high, the other sang low, and the other sang Bunny Bunny Biscay, oh. It was upstairs, downstairs the lady went, and put out a suit of leather, oh. There was a cry from around the door, she's gone with the Raggle Tackle Gypsy, oh. It was late that night, the Lord came home, inquiring for his lady, oh. The servant said on every hand, she's gone with the Raggle Tackle Gypsy, oh. Then saddle for me my milk white steed, and go fetch me my pony, oh, that I may ride and seek my bride, who's gone with the Raggle Tackle Gypsy, oh. Oh, he rode east and he rode west, he rode through woods and copses, oh, until he came to a wide open field. There he spied his lady, oh. Last night she slept on a goose feather bed, with blankets strewn round on the oh. Tonight she'll lie in a cold open field, along with the Raggle Tackle Gypsy, oh. Oh, what care I for that goose feather bed, or blankets strewn so calmly, oh. Tonight I'll lie in a wide open field, in the arms of the Raggle Tackle Gypsy, oh. How could you leave your house and your land? How could you leave your money, oh? How could you leave your truly wedded lord? All for the Raggle Tackle Gypsy, oh. Oh, what care I for that house and land? What care I for money, oh? I'd rather have a kiss from the wild gypsy's lips. I'm away with the raggle-taggle gypsy. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was just lovely. That was really fun. That was fun. So, have you ever played around with a song, for instance, a pop song, and thought, well, how do you change that and make it into a Cady song?
We've not got into Cady songs. We've got a few
Yeah,
little novelties
so-
up our sleeve, haven't we?
Yeah.
A few curveballs you like to throw out now and
the
again.
one we've been doing the longest is probably Joy Division Love Will Tear Us Apart.
Oh,
We do a really
Yeah.
nice.
Turned into a ballad, because
It's a-
when you listen to the words, it's a lament.
It's a very sad
a
song.
really
It is.
sad
It's
song.
a fantastic
I'm glad I
song.
asked that because the minds of musicians, you fascinate me. You're like a rare breed.
And
You
we've
think differently.
turned only you into a 3/4 with an Irish jig in the middle of it.
Yeah,
Oh.
done quite slowly, and we've just never-
We should have had that one.
Yeah,
well,
not
no,
cold.
Snow Patrol.
Snow
Snow
Patrol,
Patrol,
yeah.
yeah, always get that.
Yeah.
I think that's nice when you from in one genre of music and then you can just snatch something away and just
Oh, absolutely.
absorb
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
And
no, I mean, there's so many different artists who got that. So I would get a flash of inspiration. I heard a good few years ago on the stage in the square, there was a band and they actually slipped some of the Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song in the middle of a
that's right,
set of jigs or reels. And it's like,
Did I just hear that?
you sort of, for a second the brain stops and you're like, what's going on there? And it's just so clever.
oh, that's lovely. That's what I like about you guys. You can change and influence what you're doing. So, do you all have a favourite piece?
What from Marvel?
Each of you. Do you have an argument ever about music? What I'm going to play? I want to do this one.
Not really. I mean, there's certain songs. Yeah, we each bring different ideas of, we should maybe try this and maybe try that, and as long as we all agree it works,
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
it goes into the set.
So you don't do the rock paper scissors thing.
No,
No,
not
it hasn't
yet.
resorted to that yet.
So, I think
Occasionally, there's stuff we try and it just doesn't work for whatever reason. So we just
Bin it.
well either bin it or put it,
to side.
revisit it later with a different approach maybe. But no, generally speaking, what we find, what one of us brings to things, we know our sound, so we go, we can do a treatment of that our way.
Yeah, without compromising what we want to sound like too. I
Exactly.
think actually a good example of that would be The Witches, wouldn't it? Really, where because it wasn't a song we knew, and it's not
Oh
a
yeah,
pop song.
the way you
it's-
marry lasses. Yeah, that was because that's actually a contemporary folk song that I heard Kim Loans and the Greenwood do. I thought, we could do a good version of that, and that's,
So we
that's
listened
one
to
of the
it and-
staples in the
yeah.
set. as well.
And basically what you're saying is you nicked it.
Yeah, yeah.
In the folk world, we call it collecting it. Sounds so much better.
There's no such thing. Yeah. So I think what happened there was Steve said listen to it, and then we actually thought, that's really good. We can do that, and I think we just got a phone out and did a voice recording of us doing something. You figured out a whistle part, and within about 2 weeks, we pretty much had a name.
We basically just sent the voice recording of it to Steve and said, "This is what we've done. What can you put over it?"
And it's probably much one of our favourites in terms of performance.
Yeah.
So there we go. We got back to the first question.
Yes.
What's your favourite?
Yeah, for me, actually, I would still say it goes back to Love Will Tear Us Apart. I think that's one I always enjoy playing.
Oh, really?
Out of all the folk music, which I really, really like anyway, and I kind of come back to that. Once I hit about 25, I came back from the electronic and the indie stuff. I just knew that was where I was really meant to be. But I still love that song.
Well,
And because I've rediscovered it in its words without all the synthesizer bits, so you understand it more as it was probably meant to be written and listened to in the first place. So that for me is my favourite.
Oh, I don't know. I was probably torn between the one we just done, Raggle Taggle Gypsy, and another borrowed one. We do a version of U2 Running to Stand Still.
I'm coming to see you guys. I'm coming to see you. Right, we've talked enough again. It's time for a second number. Are you happy?
Right.
Right, Lowland.
Yeah, so this
Lowland.
is an Irish song from written, I think, in the 1800s, but about a much earlier period in Anglo-Irish history. I think we'll probably leave it there.
It's still strange, isn't it?
A little bit. Well, yeah, seeing as the English were trying to stop the Irish from going to go and fight.
We're into potato
Yeah.
famines and things like that.
Yeah. But, no, this is from Queen Anne's time, the story. Here we go. From Ballinamore we drifted, Michael must combine cowhide, wool and live cargo. 4 and 20 walkies, they're ready pledged to fly, sailing for the lowland low.
The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low. The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low.
These 4 and 20 walkies, they gave clean and slip, crossing to Louis in Flanders. For Levy and Jack Bob, they both are in a grip, fighting in the lowlands low.
The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low. The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low.
We saw it off the Isle of Wight, either a Sally or a Saxon, out into the storms. We bade them good night, sailing for the lowland low.
The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low. The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low.
Ready with our groin, we'd our galleons, muskets and pikes in good order. For if the ship be taken, prisoners there be none, dead or up the lowlands low.
The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low. The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low.
Now free we holy bread, no good around dream. Saxon and Dutchman shall find us, and we will bring trade, black and Rhenish wine, hoping at the lowlands low.
The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low. The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low. The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low. The lowlands low, the lowlands low, sailing for the lowlands low.
Wow, fantastic. Well, you're listening to Radio Wimborne, and we're here at the Wimborne Folk Festival with Murphy's Law. If Matt Fleming had been here, he'd been doing that chair bouncing thing, which he seems to do every week, to anything. Right. So, Nolan, that instrument fascinates me. I mean, we've called it a drum already, and we know that's not the right name for it.
It's the Balran.
A balran.
Balran.
Can you spell it?
Bodhran. It's one of those weird Gaelic words.
Yeah, I used to pronounce it bodrum.
Most people do.
It's a wonderful instrument, and I wonder why kids don't include that more in other groups and things like that, because it's such a versatile thing. You just pick it up, and that lovely wrist flicking that you do, it's wonderful.
In Ireland, there's a lot of kids that play it.
Yeah.
It's something that, both Ireland and Scotland, there is a huge uptake in young people in their traditional music, which just seems to be lacking in England presently.
You preempted my question almost, because we're seeing, like, in the charts and things like that at the moment, we're seeing the resurgence of American country music, influencing lots of things. Is that something you hope that English folk music could possibly do as well?
It will do. Everything goes in cycles.
Yeah,
I mean, we had the 60s folk revival.
We did.
And there was, in the 90s, there was a bit of a folk revival centred around bands like Ballowhead and stuff like that. And so it goes sort of in waves, and I think it will come again.
And possibly, we had a conversation about this last week, didn't we? When I got into the sort of guitar band and stuff, and eventually progressed to the Led Zeppelin stuff, at the time I was listening to it, I didn't realise how much they were influenced by the then folk revival, because it was, and it's only looking back on it now, knowing what I know now, that you suddenly see the influences that Jimmy Page and Robert Plant were under writing that stuff, particularly by the time they got to Led Zeppelin 4, didn't they?
Absolutely,
It was actually even 3, to be fair. It was there all the time.
Well, you
said
listen
they
to
were
a song
all-
like Gallows Pole. Gallows Pole is basically the traditional song Prickle Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and,
There's a
and then
example.
you've got Gary Moore
Yeah.
doing some of the traditional Irish stuff,
Yeah.
rockifying that
He was
over the hills and far away.
guy from Dire Straits, he did a LP, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which was much more.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a bit tedious though.
Yeah, it was actually, but I think that what's in David Goldberg playing the
Yeah.
pipes and stuff.
So you hear it in the heart of Wimborne. This is really on your doorstep. Is
It
it
is.
it good to play a really local festival?
It is.
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely, yeah.
As I say, I think certainly I've been here for as long as I can
Yeah.
remember. Every festival that's run, I've been here in some way, shape, or form. Since I was
Yeah.
pretty much.
He's
Yeah.
103, ladies and gentlemen.
Even Steve hasn't been to that many.
I'm wearing well.
I used to come up with Dan and Caroline when I was a nipper. The Christchurch Festival was around in the sort of late 70s.
Yeah, and
well.
wearing
Wimborne-
folk harvest that's unfortunately
Yeah.
fallen by the wayside. So this is
This is one that's.
This is the hub,
still
isn't it?
still
Yeah.
going,
Yeah,
and it is.
very
Yeah,
much
it feels like our local festival.
It is.
Yeah.
It is like
Yeah.
that festival, isn't it? At the end of the day, we
So
just-
where are you playing next after
Yeah.
this? I mean, what happens after this weekend?
Well,
Where are you going?
After this weekend, that's a good question. We're still all over the place. The Cayley band's got a lot going on.
yeah.
Steve's got a lot going on with Route
Yes,
66.
on Route 66 are playing the Bewley American and Custom show on Father's Day on the 15th.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That one
that's
down
actually,
that's right.
that's actually in
Yeah.
Bewley proper. Right by the Abbey. That's a great day out.
The next big one for the trio is probably New Forest Folk Festival.
Oh yes,
Yes, oh, yeah,
in a few
yes,
weeks' time.
yes.
And you do a lot of local venues as well, don't you? Little
Yeah,
pubs and
we're
things like
pretty
that.
good with the King Charlie's given us opportunity to play a few
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Chapman's was
Bournemouth,
certainly.
Bournemouth Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was their fault we formed in the
It
first
was,
place.
yeah.
and they-
So the best idea for people is to go onto your website.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
absolutely.
Which is your opportunity to plug it.
Yeah, social media.
Murphy's Law Trio,
Yeah.
spelled Lore. That's the
Yeah,
key
that's
thing.
the
'cause
key thing, yeah.
Otherwise, there is another Murphy's Law that sort of Norfolk way. So yeah.
And confusingly, they've got a fiddle player who's also called Alex, and it's a really weird one. So occasionally we used to get, we did get phone calls or inquiries for them, and they'd say, "Oh, you're coming to play at our pub, and it's in."
Lowestoft.
No, that's like in Norfolk. You've got the wrong band, and they go, "Oh yeah, I didn't realise."
And then they get phone calls, people expecting them to come to Bournemouth.
Because they've got
so-
Alex in the band, it made it a bit more
It
confusing. But as,
But
an,
weirdly,
as
there's also up that way. There's a Stephen Faulkner
just for
music
goodness
as well. And
Yeah.
I've got cross tagged in various posts.
Look, if there's any money in it, just take it.
Well, yeah, a bit of a schlep though for some.
Yeah, a weird coincidence. This guy Alex, who we've now met a few times because he's also in another band with his partner as well. It turns out that a guy I used to play football with when I was playing football and Sunday league stuff. Nothing great.
Back in the
It's
day.
actually he's a cousin of theirs. Mum and Dad, we did a gig 4 years ago
Yeah.
with the Cayley band, and they said, "Oh, we got a couple of people you might know," and it's theirs.
Yeah, definitely 6 degrees of separation
Yeah,
is very
it's
true,
really-
particularly in the
really-
folk world.
Really
Oh,
strange.
guys, I tell you what, I've really enjoyed. This could go on forever for me because I've asked you some weird questions. I'm so sorry, but we're going to end with a great number now. What have we got?
So this is the tune set that breaks all the rules of traditional folk, especially for dancing. So in Cayley dancing, you want to keep the rhythm going, and we occasionally, when we change tunes, we change keys and stuff like that to keep it interesting for us. This one, we stay in the same key, but we change rhythms. So we have to warn people at pub gigs if they fall over. It's the beer talking, not our rhythm.
Yeah.
Sometimes both.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do because I'm new at this. I'm finishing 10 minutes early, so I want you to play the long version. No, we'll have some. We'll talk after that.
2, 2, and 3 then, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
1, 2, 3.
Who would have thought that 3 instruments could fill a room like that? The penny whistle. Why did schools ever go down the recorder route?
Good point.
I've never realised that was so versatile. I was watching you intently there, and I just thought that is absolutely amazing to listen to.
Thank you.
You've made me a fan. You're up there with horse lips now.
High praise indeed.
Trying to get my electric guitar out.
Well, you can always do that. You
Yeah,
can
we
always
have been
do
thinking
that.
about it.
So you two are obviously an item, and
Yeah.
you've been together, what, 18 years, did you say?
We've been married, it'll be 22 years this
Oh,
summer.
yeah. So about
Don't
23
seem a
together.
day too long.
You've got a 20-year-old kid and a 17-year-old kid. haven't you?
Indeed,
So
yes.
it needs that long, isn't it?
And they do leave home eventually.
They do.
So
Once-
do you,
once
Well,
come back.
yeah, the 20-year-old left home and came back again.
oh, well, fair enough. So do you have like a home studio? Do you do recording at home?
We
YouTube
have-
videos maybe?
We've done a few live stuff just in the front room.
We
haven't
have, yes,
Yeah.
and we particularly back during lockdown, we did quite a lot
That's
of
exactly when things
of
changed,
home
isn't it?
stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Literally
yeah.
from straight to phone, wasn't it? A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were putting stuff out quite regularly during lockdown.
Yeah. So you've got videos out there on kicking around
there's
on
a-
YouTube because it's a
a lot of
good
it-
place for people to pick up. You see
More of it went on probably onto social media, onto
There's
the
a fair bit on YouTube, on YouTube
Yes, there is.
show
Yes,
reel, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
Some of
just
the more
work with,
recent stuff.
Yeah, just worked with videographer John Maggs,
Yeah.
producer show reel at Bournemouth Brewery, so that's up on the YouTube page.
Yeah,
isn't
which
it?
is just, I think that's under Murphy's or Kaylee actually, but
Yeah.
we haven't.
We haven't-
social media we separated because this band was getting big enough basically. But Murphy's or Kaylee YouTube channel is just
Yeah.
basically everything in
It's
one.
just-
But it's there.
Yeah.
Because it's good that people get a chance to see it and they go, oh, I've seen something at this pub. I'm not sure,
Yeah, yeah.
And they just go, and they, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to that one.
Yeah.
Murphy's Law, and we've heard them on Radio Wimborne. They got to be big.
I think we're actually well known for our live stuff, aren't we? I think
Yeah, we're better
known
known for live things
Yeah.
because we keep getting moaned at that we haven't got any recorded
but we haven't got time.
recorded material for merch.
It nails you down, doesn't it, recordings, isn't it?
I find it, it's one of the most dreaded places for me to play music. Recording studio.
Every mistake is there to be
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
it's just going through the same thing again and again till it's right. But when you're playing live, it's out there and warts and all, so to speak.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
that cool mind. Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't give up.
sadly, Glenn tells me, shut up, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
But Murphy's Law, never shut up, please.
No, we won't.
You've been listening to Radio Wimborne at the festival. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.